Hello and welcome to this spooky special of the Rustic Spirit podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Leigh.
I'm Gary Leigh.
And tonight it is just us. I mean, we do have a guest coming on later to announce some very special news, but it is just us. We are going to do some spooky stories tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of Halloween, and it's just going to be a fun night. So welcome, everybody. Please say hello in the comments. I so appreciate that everybody's here. Before we get started, I am going to just present. Hello, happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Hello, Maine Paranormal and Horror Con. We're actually just getting ready to talk about you. I'm having a little problem getting my slides up for some reason. This is the way of the world, I guess. Oh, yep. Okay, so we're no slides tonight. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. So hello, we have David Taylor. Hi, David. Happy Halloween. Sadie, hello. Sadie is one of our guests that has shared stories with us tonight that we were going to talk about. Maine Paranormal and Horror Con. They are a brand new horror convention that is horror and paranormal convention that is going to be in Maine of September of next year. Unfortunately, my slides are not working, so I can't get them up, and it's probably because we're outside. So I don't have the best internet out here, and one of my ghosts just fell over. So yes. Jason, hello. Hi, Jason. Jason's another one of our guests that we're going to talk about his story tonight. And we are happy to have everybody here. I'm going to try one more time with these slides. I have no idea why they won't come up. Continue. Yeah, it's not coming up. Okay. So that is it for today. And then Melissa Stitch says, hello. How are you guys today? Working with technology, wonderfulness, I guess.
Wonderful.
So tonight we are going to talk. Today's Halloween. Happy Halloween to everybody. It is probably it is my favorite holiday, as you can see. I tried to get the man. Oh, did I scare you?
Oh, yeah. That's just you.
Okay.
You have a hole in your head.
I have a hole in my head. I know. Did you look behind you?
Yeah, I've seen.
Okay. So Halloween, what it is today is so different than not very different, but it is a little different than what it is. Now it's this fun holiday where we all dress up and we go to parties and we have parades and children go out and go trick-or-treating. You know, we tell children not to take candy from strangers except for this day. This day, it's okay to take candy from strangers. But Halloween is believed. What does it say? Yes. Glad. Yeah, I am better. I did have to reschedule the podcast. I didn't really want to come on tonight. I was afraid that people wouldn't actually view tonight because a lot of things are going on, Halloween parties and it being Thursday and stuff. But I have a chronic illness. And sometimes I have flare-ups, and that is what happened with me Tuesday night. And I was kind of stuck in bed. So I'm sorry that we had to reschedule, but sometimes that just kind of happens in this world with chronic illness. For those of you that know that have a chronic illness, I am fine. It's nothing to worry about. No concerns. It is just my everyday life. Sometimes things happen. So back to the Halloween. Halloween is believed, and this is the historians. I mean, a lot of times back early times, we don't have written history. We have a lot of verbal history. So things are passed down. So it is believed to have roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, or Samhain, however you want to pronounce it. I say it's Samhain. I don't know why, but it is Samhain. It is one of the 4 fire festivals throughout the year in the Celtic tradition. The celebration kind of marks the gathering of the harvest and ushering in the dark half of the year. This is halfway between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. So it's like marks, and tomorrow is actually the date for the festival. This would actually be All Hallows Eve. And it's the season of life to the season of death. Everything starts dying around us, and the leaves lose things. The crops start producing. You have no sound?
My ear thing.
Well, you're not going to hear sound because we don't have anybody on.
What about you?
You're going to hear me like this. Okay. It was believed that this time of year, the barrier between the physical world and the underworld would thin. It would be allowing the spirits, both good and evil, to cross over. And dancing around the fire and having fire festivals is very common. So that is kind of where we think the roots come from. The belief about whether or not, or the belief about the veil thinning, is controversial. We really don't know where that comes from, but that is why we celebrate now, like the Day of the Dead. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the Mexican celebration of the Day of the Dead, that is tomorrow. That also talks about the veil thinning and ancestors coming through. So traditions that we still hold, and kind like what we do now, and where do they come from? So since it was believed that this veil was very thin and spirits kind of crossed over, and ancestors would come to the table with us. So they would lay out food and bring this food for their ancestors. But also when that veil thins, other spirits besides ancestors could come through and have maybe not so good intentions on the physical beings. So we would dress in costumes to scare off or kind of blend in with these spirits while we were out and about. So that's where the costumes come from. So those things we carve at Halloween, the little pumpkins, they have a very long history. And it starts with a guy named Stingy Jack. So his story is completely long. I could do a whole podcast on his story, but the basis of it is Stingy Jack was able to trick the devil multiple times. And this is an Irish folklore. And when his turn came to pass into the other world, God didn't want a man like Stingy Jack, a trickster, into heaven. So he was banned and sentenced to roam earth for eternity. So the devil gives him this piece of coal to keep him warm and to light his way. So he takes a turnip. Turnips were plentiful in Ireland. So he takes a turnip and carves a turnip so he could put the piece of coal inside, and he walked around with his lantern of coal as a turnip. So that is where our jack-o'-lanterns come from. It is said that once the Irish came over and to America and they realized that pumpkins were so much easier to carve, that they ended up using the pumpkins, because pumpkins is actually a United or American thing. American crop, I guess you could say, right? American crop. So that little lantern, Jack's lantern, Jack-o'-lantern, is why we carve pumpkins about today.
You want me to read that?
Yeah.
Today about candy, 2 little goblins that came by and say trick or treat. But this traditionally comes from giving offerings to the Fae in order to ward off the evil that was said to haunt All Hallows Eve. Offerings would include apples and honey.
Yes. So the Fae, the fairy world, is part of Irish folklore and legend. So it is always known, like, in order to appease the Fae, you give them an offering, and it wouldn't be apples that time of year. And then that, we love to march. We love to gather for parades. We love, parades is a big thing around Halloween. Actually, for a lot of holidays, we march and we parade. So we love to gather around parades, and we love to have these marches, and a lot of people get together. Well, those come from in these little small towns in Ireland. They would dress up in costume and they would march the evil spirits out of town, hoping if they dressed up as the evil spirits, that they would come in and join the parade, and they've marched them out of town. So that's kind of where that parade comes in. So that is a little history about Halloween. Like I said, I could talk all night about it, but it really isn't. That would be a whole nother episode. So we do have some stories that our wonderful viewers have shared with us. And I think Jenny Schaefer is the first one. She is not able to join tonight. So Jenny, if you're listening on Spotify or iHeart, hello. Thank you for sharing with us. Gary's going to read that first story.
Oh, all right, Jenny Davis or Jenny Schaefer.
Where's Jenny? Where's Jenny? Where's Jenny? Someone tag Jenny Davis in the comments.
Well, she was doing an investigation at the Euler House in Waynesboro and went to the tuberculosis wing at the
Rello
Euler built for her friend. We had a psychic medium that was with us who said that a tall man got angry that I sat on the bench in the room. She said she never had chills so bad. I felt like someone was standing right behind me. And Pam used the SLS camera and said that there was a tall figure standing right behind me. She apologized to the gentleman and left me alone. And he left me alone. Shortly after that, I had starting to have difficulty breathing, feeling sick and wheezing. Come to find out, it was Rello's friend making herself known. She said she never felt so out of breath. Oh, we learned that Rello's friend died in the house and was showing me how she died. Huh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting. I would call that a psychic attack. When a spirit shows you how they've passed, they can kind of take over your body and show you what they felt as they're passing. Has anybody else ever had a psychic attack? Let us know in the comments.
Let's get part. She said it lasted about 30 minutes, and it felt like she had fluid in her lungs and couldn't catch her breath. No matter what she did, she couldn't get it to stop. So after about 30 minutes, Rello's
I think it's Rello.
Rello's
friend, maybe Relo. I'm not sure.
Rello's friend to please stop, and that I'm sorry he died the way he did. She did. And was happy she felt comfortable enough to show me how she died. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So apparently, Jenny believes that she's an empath and like a sensitive and magnet to these spirits. And the symptom that she felt during this time, she was she couldn't catch her breath. No matter what she did, she just felt like she was like underwater, like she had fluid in her lungs. It took her about 30 minutes. And then eventually she asked to stop. And I know that's something that we can do often in different hauntings. If we just say, hey, leave me alone, that's creating that boundary. And she asked him to stop, and then it finally did. She did like say she was so sorry about the way that they died, honored what had happened. So that was a good thing that she did. She kind of honored, I'm sorry you died this way. I feel for you. As an empath, like things happen, like guys, I know some of you in the comments are empaths, like tell me what you've been through with spirits and feeling what they felt. And then it's very powerful. I talked to Jenny. She said it was a very powerful experience for her. For those of you who don't know, the Euler House is in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. It's not across the street from the Hoover House, but it's kind of diagonal, a little bit up, maybe 2 blocks up. And it was a house, but they had a tuberculosis wing that was built in there to treat her friend that had tuberculosis and some others that were in that wing. So that's kind of like the history of the house, and they had been in there. And I swear, like, I love doing this Halloween makeup, but it's in my eye. I can't see out of this eye right now. So Sadie says, yes. Sweet Springs Sanitarium. I was doing an EDP session in the hospital wing, and I felt all the symptoms of a heart attack until I left the building. That's very common for a psychic attack, for an empath. Not even a medium. Someone who's just an empath and can feel these things sometimes can walk into places and take over and feel what the spirits are feeling. It's pretty intense. A very intense feeling. So our next one is from Sadie. Do you want to read that one, or you want me to read that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So Sadie was about 12. She had gone to bed and woke up around 2 a.m. To her stepmom screaming her name. But it took a minute kind of to register. You know how like you're coming out of a dream state. It took her a minute to register. It wasn't part of a dream. And she got up and went out and found her dad on top of my stepmom trying to strangle her. So this is some, for those of you, this might be some sensitive information. She rushed out and managed to push him off of her and smacked his head on the chair where we had the family room. When I saw his eyes, they were extremely bloodshot. Her stepmom told her that they went black like you see on TV. So she felt like, I guess, at this point, she felt like her dad was like possessed, I'm assuming. The whole time when I was with my dad, and the entity would not go near her, dad/entity. It wouldn't talk to me or even look at me. I just sat there for her for an hour or so. She told me to go back to the bed because nothing else happened. So I did. So her bed's on the other side of the wall of the dining room. She heard it yelling at her again and slid down the wall and knocked on it for me. So it was like knocking on her wall, I'm assuming. So I got back up and just walked out to where she was. And it got up and left her alone. Again, she would not talk to me or look at me and wouldn't go near her if I was there. So she told me to call my gram because we didn't know what to do and didn't want to be alone. It looked at me and said, "Don't you dare." I looked at it in the eyes, which is her father, in the eyes, and said, "I'm going to do it." I went to get my phone and called her. She just lived right up the road, so she walked down and she was there with us. Another hour goes by with nothing really significant happening. Then my dad ran into the bathroom and threw up. He came back out and he said he had the worst headache and was so confused. He had no memory of what happened, and still doesn't to this day. The next morning, a cousin who lived in California, who was a medium, called her gram and asked what happened to Bill last night. And she told her the cousin instructed us to put a piece of hair of everyone that lived in the home in the center of the Bible. It did not stop all the activity in the home, but it never happened again. After we told my dad what happened, he said that he had been seeing a dark figure with red eyes for some time, and it would wake him up like in sleep paralysis. It started with the entity standing in the doorway, then it progressed to crawling across the floor, then sitting on his chest. That happened over several nights. The night after the possession, my stepmom said she experienced the entity in her doorway crawling across the floor and sitting on her chest, all in one go. She said she had sleep paralysis. My Graham's sister. I'm sorry, guys. My daughter just came out with my bearded dragon who passed away. She just found her dead in her cage. So I just. Please say a prayer for my daughter right now. Send her some positive energy. This is going to be a hard time for her. Oh, wow. Okay. We knew it was coming. She has cancer. She has a tumor. And we were trying to nurse her as much as possible, but we knew this wasn't a surprise. It's funny how it happened tonight on Halloween. Oh, okay. The show must go on now. So I'm going to get back to this, and then I'm going to have Gary read the next story while I go check on my daughter. Um, so Graham's sister said she saw the same entity, but chose to get rid of it when it was just standing in the doorway. And I think that's pretty much the end of the story. So, Sadie, I am so sorry that you had gone through this. Like, this sound like I don't. I'm a Catholic, and I've worked with priests for possessions and exorcism, so I don't know that how you guys got rid of this. Maybe you had someone come in. I'm not sure whether you had someone come in and help you with this. It sounds like you had a medium that kind of did help you along. I'm glad it kind of was like a temporary thing. It sounds like, I mean, maybe not, maybe there is still more things going on, but I am very sorry that you have gone through that. And I hope that things have panned out and evened out. So, Jason, who's in our comments, and then Susan has another one. Susan, your sheet did not print up, so I'm gonna have to pull yours up after he's done with Susan's or done with Jason's. So, Jason, this is actually a really interesting story. um, he has a lot. This is probably the longest one.
It's long.
It is, but all you have to do is read the paper. I do need to go check on my daughter and make sure she's okay. Gary is going to entertain you guys. He has his bell. So he is going to entertain you guys while I go check on her. Thank you all for your patience and listening to Gary. Obviously, he talks lighter than I do. But I'm going to need to get around you.
All right, sorry, folks. This is from Jason Wilkerson. And he says about 10 years ago, his team and another team traveled to St. Joseph, Missouri to investigate a house that his daughter picked out on the internet on historicproperties.net. My daughter, who found out age 13, had the gift of medium used to search the internet of historic properties for sale and order for us to have places so they could investigate. So they apparently came across the property and contacted the real estate agent, who got in touch with the owner, who was a former Roman Catholic priest that bought this house sight unseen for $400,000 and moved from London, England to St. Joseph, Missouri. Apparently he owned the property for about 6 years, yet it was still completely gutted out and was about 12,000 square foot mansion. So they were supposed to stay in the hotel, but the owner offered them to stay in this other house, which was a block away. Said the first night they were there, everybody went to bed except for himself and his daughter, and we were in the kitchen having a talk with the owner. Everything seemed to be normal until my daughter noticed what she was relayed to me as something entering his body while he was talking to us, and she had tears running down her face. The owner looked at her and said, "You saw it, didn't you?" She didn't respond, and we went upstairs and she told me not to leave her side the entire night because that she saw what she saw downstairs was something that was attached to him, and she knew at the outside of our room, and she was blocking it from coming in. So we got the team the next day to discuss everything about what happened, and even though friends of ours from back in Kentucky who were remote viewers told us to not go investigate this house because this thing would attach itself to himself or his daughter. So they stayed and let the team go without. We stayed and let the team go without us and the owner to investigate the property. They had walkie-talkies so the team could tell us what was going on during the investigation. The owner approached the front door and threw the keys at the door, and one of the, threw the keys at the door, and one of the team members asked what he was doing. He replied, "The distance the house key from the front door will tell me how angry this thing is." So they're relying on what he said to us through the walkie-talkies. And as he walked into the house, he starts banging the cane on the floor, speaking in Latin. Before he could get the fifth word that he was speaking, they called on the walkie-talkie and said the house started to shake and the walls started to bang like an earthquake. Oh, wow, that's pretty freaky. The house team leader on the investigation asked for the spirit or entity to show itself, in which the owner looked in the camera and said, "It's not here. It's back at my other house watching my daughter," in which the owner leaves the house abruptly. And they said as soon as he walked out the door, everything stopped and just went dead. There was about 9 people in the house when the owner returns, myself and my daughters included, and walked. He was blind, asking where we were, even though he was standing right in front of us. Their friends from back home who were remote viewers said they could not see my daughter at the time, but all they could see was a lady in a long white dress, and she was blocking them like she was protecting my daughter. The lady there they were referring to was the lady that showed up who knew the owner. Oh shit, where am I at? From New Mexico, and her name was Zelda Mag Mag Mag
Magad
Magasian
Magadesian.
Magadesian. She only spoke to us when she walked in and never said anything else outside of sending me an email after we left. The team returned to the house and we talked briefly and decided to leave that night and drive 13 hours back home because of what they had experienced. Numerous people had nightmares from rosaries on
There's
their
Jenny.
chests burning.
Where's Gary? She said, "Where's Gary?"
When they went home, we went to the deceased and asked them to tell us diocese and asked them to tell us what this priest was saying when he was banging his cane on the floor and speaking Latin. They listened to it and said, "What was he saying? What he was saying, come forth, Lord of." But before the last word could be heard, there were screams coming through our cameras and recorders.
This is intense, yeah. Jason.
Lastly, we contacted the Diocese of St. Joseph, who had thought it was very unusual from someone from London, England, would buy a house and move to it, St. Joseph, Missouri. So they did search the priest that had no idea about it when they first moved to town. They found out they had been part of 134 last rites and 13 exorcisms when he was in England. Oh, wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 13 exorcisms.
13 exorcisms is a lot, yeah.
Well, they felt like when we feel like that's where his attachment came from, and myself as well, and the rest of the team, including our cameraman who came from Indianapolis, vowed to never speak of this again because of how damaging it was to us for the better of the 2 months after the investigation.
In about a month after we got home, he got a call from Sci-Fi asking if I would like to tell my story on Paranormal Witness. I asked them where they got the information from, because even though we investigated this crazy house, we vowed never to bring it up. So to this day, no one knows how they found out, because none of the team members got in touch with them. The house is now a bed and breakfast owned by a man that I believe is bound to two spirits to the home. There's bound two spirits to the home, and that has no problem telling you about. But yet, he says you're not allowed to investigate. I stayed there 2 years ago at the carriage house because he could. He said I could not stay in the regular house because it was full, even though there was nobody staying there. And he's very against people investigating, even though he realizes there are spirits there. I missed the beginning part. Do we know? We don't know the name of the house. You don't have to say it, Jason. But I would love to know. I would love to go stay there, and just kind of see what I feel. Holy crap, that's like intense. It's really intense.
Mhm.
So we have Susan's story next. Jason, wow. It amazes me, like with that story, like what Vineyard Mansion. Okay. So it amazes me with that story is like no one told the Sci-Fi Channel about this, but then they had it. Somehow they figured it out. So was it the people that owned the house? I mean, was it the spirits? Do you think they had a medium? I mean, what is your assumption of who told Sci-Fi? Like, what is your theory of how Sci-Fi knew about it? I guess that's what I want to know. What is your theory of it? I have spider webs all over me from out here. Just so you guys know, while he's waiting for him to comment, that earlier, like our bearded dragon had a cancerous tumor. We thought it was constipation at first, so we were doing stuff to help with her pass the stool, and she had a cancerous tumor. So we chose not to put her down. We chose to let her naturally pass. And so, like I said, this wasn't a surprise. And Audrey is upset, but she understands. And we are going to bury her in the morning when it's light outside. So thank you all for your well wishes. And I'm sorry that you guys had to be part of that. So Jason says, no idea to this day, seriously. This was so traumatic in so many ways to all of us. It absolutely was. I can imagine how traumatic that was for you. Honestly, like if you need to reach out and talk to me, I am a trauma therapist, but I'm also like a paranormal trauma therapist. So if there's some things that happen and you just need to talk, please reach out to me. I can help you work through it any way that I can. I would love to do that for you. So I am sorry. So, okay. Shauna, Danielle, check your junk email. Okay. Check your junk. It might be in there. If not, then I will, they're coming on here in about 10 minutes. So I will send you a link via messenger, because right now I'm on my computer. I don't think I can send you one that way, but I can send it to you in messenger. And then, so Shauna and Danielle are from Unique Paranormal. They are going to be joining us in about 10 minutes. They have recently acquired a new property in Loretto, Pennsylvania. So I have a ghost story, a very cool little ghost story that kind of goes along. It's not in Loretto, but it is. I'm going to do this on my phone. It is not in Loretto, but it relates to something to this area. Let me send them the link real quick. Oh, Shauna found it. Okay, we're good. I don't have to do anything. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this. This Loretto, Pennsylvania was founded by Prince Golitsyn. Prince Golitsyn was a Russian prince who came over here on princes at that time in Russia. I guess they went on a journey before they became of age. I'm not sure why. But because of all the wars that were going on, this is in the 1700s, all the wars that were going on, that he went, sorry, he came over here. And during this time, like this is pre-Revolutionary War, like right around the Revolutionary War. And he come over here and he met some priests, and he ended up staying and ended up becoming deciding to devote his life to the Catholic Church. Came to Loretto and opened and founded the town of Loretto, and built the church, and um, is the founder of that town. So, excuse me, he had involvement in a case in, actually, I guess it was about 100 miles south, maybe 50 miles south, outside of Martinsburg, West Virginia. In the 1790s, Adam Livingston, he was a Lutheran that lived on an estate in the Shenandoah Valley with his wife and his children. He actually was from our area in York County, Pennsylvania, and was having creepy, weird things happening here. He had a large lot of land here in York County, and everything caught on fire. His animals died, cattle died. It was all these weird things happening. So he sold everything and moved to West Virginia, thinking he would escape this. So he gets there to West Virginia, and he began to witness strange things in the house there. Cattle was dying again without explanation. Sorry. Which was what he drove him out of here in the first place, of York County, because these things were happening. And then the house was haunted, and the Livingstons were kept awake at night by sounds of like galloping horses, wagons, and like charging through the living room. Furniture moved by itself. Crockery was like smashed to the floor. So this is like the first like documented case of poltergeist in the United States. But worst of all was the clippings. And to this day, this place is called Cliptown. So the family often heard the sound of scissors, the sound of shears, and almost all clothing that they owned were cut to pieces by this invisible force. People would come over and their clothing would get cut to pieces. Like the clothing often cut into a crescent shapes. Soon the town, sorry, soon the town, many of those who saw the frightening like occurrences themselves, they are the ones that like deemed it called Wizard Clip, or Cliptown. Livingston tried everything to stop these hauntings. He begged a local minister for help. This man, who was an Episcopalian, named Reverend Alexander Ballman, was the ancestor actually of Robert E. Lee. Ballman had been a chaplain in the Revolutionary War. Okay, so this is after the Revolutionary War. I'm sorry. But his courage did him no good with the clip. One account claims like he attempted an exorcism and was famously abused by a scornful spirit. So the prayer book he used was found in one of the other rooms, in a place indicated no great respect, and all clipped to pieces. So Livingston then tried a local practitioner, like a German practitioner. I guess it would be like a German witch, for someone who can conjure spirits. And he offered the local sorcerer like double payment if he could do it. But nothing, but it continued. This stuff just continued. So Gallitzin described, he actually wrote in his writings about this, that Livingston, this is how Gallitzin wrote. Livingston almost came to the conclusion that Christ had no longer any true ministries on earth, and that those who pretended to be such were set of impostors. He was determined henceforward never to apply any of them calling themselves ministers of Christ. A Roman Catholic peddler who happened to be one night in the Livingstons, and who was much disturbed by the noise which prevailed almost the whole night in the house, tried to persuade Livingston to send for a Roman Catholic priest. But Livingston answered quickly that he had tried so many of those fellows, he was not going to try any more of them. So after that peddler had left, who was Roman Catholic, Livingston then had a dream. He was climbing up a mountain, and when he reached the top, he saw a beautiful church and a minister dressed in peculiar robes, Livingston was informed that this minister in robes had to be a Catholic priest. And when he met Dennis Cahill, he saw the man and said, "You are the man. You are the priest in my dreams to cleanse my house and to get rid of these spirits." Father Cahill was a skeptic of Livingston's story. He thought the man was suffering from delusions. And so he went over there for the first time and threw some holy water on and said a couple prayers, but did not do a full exorcism. And then it seemed like he had lost some money actually during that time. And as if it was being carried off by invisible hands, it was laid on the mantelpiece. For several days, the house was quiet. And, but soon the trouble started again. However, the Bishop of Baltimore, John Carroll, decided to send another priest, Father Gallitzin. Actually, I don't think that his name, he wasn't Gallitzin. I believe it was when he became a father, it was called, he took on a different name to hide who he was as a priest, but he did a full investigation. Father Gallitzin stayed 3 months and wrote a lengthy account of the spirits of Wizard's Cliffs. But the manuscript has now since been lost, so there's only pieces of it. However, there are surviving letters and things like that we can get from. He was first skeptical as well, but after interviewing witnesses and seeing the phenomenon himself, he changed his mind. And he said this: "No lawyer in a court of justice did ever examine or cross-examine witnesses more strictly than I did," he wrote in that letter. Father Gallitzin also apparently didn't have the stomach for exorcism that Father Cahill did. So Father Cahill ended up coming in there and working with the other priest, did the exorcism. The evil spirits, he exorcised the evil spirits for good. But as he commenced doing this, there was a rattling and a rumbling of like innumerable wagons, which filled the house and worked upon his nerves so much that he could not command himself to read the exorcism. So Father Cahill ultimately managed to drive the spirits out, continuing. Livingston became a Catholic at that point, claimed that the strange things that kept happening in his house, the strange things continued to happen in his house, but this time, after the exorcism, he claimed that they were holy. He claimed to have frequently heard a voice. So now we have what is the Clip Town or the Wizard Clip and the voice. And this voice instructed him on Catholic dogma. And there is a whole story on how for 17 years, this voice, this Catholic dogma voice, came in and told them how to be Catholic, how to pray, when to pray for souls to pass. It was almost like they were helping them pass evil souls or convert evil souls into heaven. Livingston ended up donating some of the church. It is now called Priest Fields. And he ended up 38 acres he donated to the church. And then part of it was used for a cemetery. And then that mysterious stranger that ended up showing up was the first person that was buried there. So to this day, the grave is marked with a cross and the words "mysterious stranger." So this is Prince Gallitzin, who is the founder of the town where this house is at. They are not on yet, but I am going to go ahead and show you the video of this brand new location that Sean and Danielle from Unique Paranormal is now offering for us to investigate. I have been there myself. All of my ghosts are falling over. I have been there myself, and it is a pretty intense. Like, Gary, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience there, or you want me to show the video first?
No, watch.
Okay, let's show the video, and then we will talk about the experience there. I hope this is the right one. So that is the Doll's House of Loretto. Their first investigation actually is tonight. It is going on tonight. A team is in there tonight investigating. There's a lot of mysteries in this house. Sean and Danielle are not with us yet. So Susan says, "Oh, I want to go." Yes, Susan. I think we are doing a New Year's Eve thing there, an overnight. I don't know what you're doing New Year's Eve, but that might be something to think about. So it is. While we're waiting for them, Gary, can you talk a little bit about your? I don't want you to give too much away, but I want you to talk a little bit. Like Gary is the person who Danielle. They're working on it. Gary is the person who at the orphanage is in the pit. At the orphanage in Gettysburg, he's in the pit. He is in the scariest places, in the corners and the crevices that no one wants to know. At Waverly, he's walking down the body chute when no one else wants to go there. So he is the bravest soul out there, I should say. Like he's the one they're always like, okay, you go check it out. So we go into this area, and we go into an area in the house. I'm not going to say what area of the house that we were in, but a certain area of this house. And Gary, tell us what happened to you there.
I was standing there and I kept looking in certain area, but I don't think that had anything to do with it. But I was standing there. I never had this happen. And I just started getting really dizzy. I don't want to say dizzy. Things started getting very blurry. And I felt like I was just going to fall to the ground, collapse. Because I remember in my head going, shit, like I'm going to like, things are blurring out. My body just got weak. And I'm like, how am I going to catch myself? And then Danielle said, Gary, are you okay? And I think it kind of snapped me out of it, hearing somebody talk or a voice. And I said, no, I'm not. And I walked out of the room, and I probably maybe 8 feet away, and I felt pretty good, but I still felt a little weird, and I kept walking closer to a certain area farther away from where I was at. And the more I did that, the better I felt. And I wasn't walking away on purpose. Like my legs would just take a step closer to the next room, I'll say, and getting out of that room.
Trying to like backing away.
Yeah, well, I'm just not going to want to say where I was at.
I know.
That'll give it away.
Yeah.
And I've never had that happen before, ever. And I don't know if I would go back in that certain room again. I'm not sure. I said I wouldn't, but we'll see.
We'll see. We're going to be there in a couple weeks.
That was
again, checking it out mid-November, and then we'll be there New Year's Eve. And yeah, it's pretty exciting. So I will share. You guys can book now. Oh, here's Shauna and Danielle. I am going to bring them on stage. You guys don't look like zombies.
Hey!
I feel like one.
I know. We've been zombies before together.
We have. I'm going to shut that door.
I'm ready to like peel. I'm like starting to peel my stuff off because it's starting to get on my nerves. Like the dried skin.
Or the dried latex.
Skin. I know. I'm ready to peel it all off. But I'll wait until this is over. So we showed the video. You guys, I don't know if you guys get to see that while you were trying to log on. And then Gary was talking a little bit about his experience there, but he did not say the location in the house. He just said in a certain part of the house, he had an experience. So we didn't want to give away that location to kind of sour it for other people that might come in. So tell us a little bit. Okay, you're a paranormal team. Tell us a little bit about your paranormal team first.
Go ahead. I did the podcast.
No, you're so much better at this.
Okay. About the team, you said. Well, it's Unique Paranormal 1.5 in memory of my mom, Holly Cataldo. And we're just carrying on her legacy of hunting ghosts like we did with her, and trying to make some of her dreams become a reality, and which led us to the discovery of the Doss house. So, we get out there and do our ghost hunting ourselves and meet up with you fine people along the way. And we actually, we just checked in our first group tonight, West Virginia Paranormal Investigations. They're actually out there right now. They're going live from their page. So anybody who wants a little sneak peek, I saw Stephanie was in there checking it out.
Okay.
Yeah, super, super exciting.
So they're live right now.
Yeah, they're live right now from the house.
That is amazing. And are they the first ones in there that have been investigated?
Yep, first group in.
Besides us, I know you guys done some, we've done some. So
yeah.
First group open to the public.
I know I got things falling off of me.
Gary says, "Away with you."
He's like, get away. It's just like falling. It's not chin hair, I promise. I shaved that already.
I didn't.
I shaved mine today.
I didn't.
So the discovery of the Doss house, I know there's some mystery around that. And like when you first saw it, what were your first thoughts?
Whoa. Just like that.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my God. The town, I think, is what captivated me more than the house. I mean, the house definitely has a huge energy that pulls you in. But the town itself, I think, is what I think I told her a million times. Yeah, the town sucks you in. And then the house just is kind of
it does.
Huh?
Yeah. I've been going, I said it does. I've been going on a rabbit hole about the town.
Telling you.
And about, did you hear the story that I shared, the ghost story about Prince Galitzin? I think I shared it over to you guys.
I know, Dan, we read that for sure. Yeah, we read that.
About him being involved in that exorcism.
Yeah.
Obviously he might've been involved in more, but definitely involved in that one, not in the town. But, I've been doing a lot of like digging, and then you just go down these rabbit holes. The town itself,
and every day we're discovering new things every single day. Something else happens that causes us to look into something else, and then we get verification on that, and then that leads to something else, and which leads to something else, and so, like you said when you were there, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
It is definitely like the layers of an onion. Definitely.
I still say that house that I pointed out we were there has some kind of tie to that house too. Something. Remember the house? Do you guys remember the house down the road? Remember we went there and I pointed to the house down the road? And I
don't know if I remember that.
When I said about the other nationality, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to give the place away. But there's that. I'll show you guys again.
Okay. Still was it before we got to the house?
I'm trying to remember it. I'm like,
was it on the same side as the Doss house?
Yes. Because I pointed as soon as we got out and we were standing in the yard, and I was saying, was there blank people? I'm sensing this nationality people. I'm not going to say it. And I turned around and I looked and I said, that house there has some kind of connection to this.
The green side of the house?
No. I'll show it to you.
No. Yeah. I'm not remembering, Gary.
No, that's fine.
Unless he's.
Well, I know. I feel like since we've been to this house, as I'm picking my face off, I can't help it. I can't stop now. Since we've been to the house, we keep getting like these connections and these reminders of the house, like the story I just told about Livingston, and he was connected to Prince Galitzin, but he's from here in York County, right near us.
Right.
And then we were at a doing some, I guess, urban legend investigating and out in the forest and nowhere near Loretto. And then we walk past these people who have a dog, and we're like saying hello to the dog, and then they're saying, "Oh yeah, he got hit by I got not hit, but he got attacked by a porcupine at Prince Gallitzin Park." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it keeps coming up for us.
Oh yeah, like the circle just keeps getting bigger. The racetrack loop just keeps getting bigger. Like we keep having
Man.
connections with. Well, Danielle and I met for the first time at Prince Gallitzin Park.
Yep.
So that's our original connection. And then I had my house was in St. Mary's, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
And this house is on St. Mary's Street as well. My daughter just was traveling to Omaha, and where they were staying was St. Mary's Street. So it's just, like you said, all of these kind of little trickles that are falling into place.
Yeah. And then the Basilica of St. Michael is in that town. And
Correct.
St. Michael is one of my guides that I call in when I'm doing Reiki.
Yeah.
And Mary is obviously, I have a strong connection to Mother Mary.
Mhm.
So it's like there's that piece too. Like it's just there's so much going on.
You
So
see that,
Jean
Janet?
says brown house with large windows in the front.
Was it, Gary, a brown house with large windows in the front?
We were there. It
remember?
was dark, and I just remember standing in where you parked your truck, and that's when I said about the other question about the other nationalities, and I was looking, and I looked down, and I'm like, that house there's some kind of connection. So I only got the side of it.
Store. Goss, or yeah.
It was Schwab's Market.
The
I
market.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about that
Yes,
because you
we
told him
did.
it was the market.
It's
Okay, now I remember. Okay.
white,
Yes.
and the side's flat, and it's not but a couple.
Yeah, it
Not
was
real
like
close, but-
like one of the first original convenience stores in the
there
town.
There was two.
Yeah.
One on
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
side, same side as Doss
Like I
house.
say, I'll point it back out to you.
Yeah.
Directly across the
I wanna-
street.
It was.
I'd like to walk down to it now.
It's newly sided now, but it's tan with like dark brown
Okay.
shutters and stuff trim like that. Yep.
And that would make sense. Like back, this house was built in. What was the date again? Do you have?
Early
You don't have the
early
exact date,
We
right?
just know somewhere between 1819 and 1822. It was one of the first two houses built in the town. We just don't know which order they were.
Because the town was founded in
1799. Mm-hmm.
I was like right at the end. I was like, I was going to say 1899, but that didn't make sense.
And in 1816, Prince Gallitzin plotted the town for all of the houses to be built on. So in 1816, that's when he started to basically
Subdivide the
land.
And I think the historian of the town, he told us that the first house started construction in 1819. So that's why the historian he put this house between 1819 and 1822.
So it could very well be the first house.
It could.
But we just don't know. Exactly.
We don't know. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
We're still digging, but it's kind of hard to find that far back.
Especially in a smaller town. Like if you lived in a larger town like that. But in a smaller town like Loretto. Did you guys know, I know you guys did a lot of research too. Did you guys know like it was the first Catholic settlement west of the Alleghenies? But Prince Gallitzin was also the only Catholic priest from, what was it, Baltimore to there, and then like Philadelphia to there. Like that was like the only Catholic priest.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So there wasn't very many Catholic settlements and Catholic priests in the area because obviously, like, I don't know how much history you know about the Revolutionary War and the reason why when the British came over and took, created the colonies, like it was more of a Protestant, less Catholic. They were coming to get away from the Catholic ideals because at that time there was Catholic had kind of ran the country. So that was where, we didn't have a lot of Catholic settlements because there wasn't a lot of Catholicism. It was more Protestant at that point. So
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Back this way, all of our little towns that are around us are all very Catholic.
Mhm.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
not like where we're at, there's like no, and even the Catholic churches in my area aren't very Catholic.
No.
There's that.
I moved out of Baltimore up to here, and I go to a Catholic church, and I'm like, this doesn't
This
seem very
isn't Catholic.
Catholic.
One of their people.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
That's one of their people.
Yes, it is.
It's the
Yeah.
white one. It was white, and it was
Okay,
bigger
okay,
than
so
all
Gary's
the rest of
responding
them.
to this comment. He says the white one.
I remember when we were there. I'm pretty sure it was
Mhm.
white, and it was a couple down, and it was bigger, a little taller than the rest. That's the one I said there's some kind of connection or tie.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It has to
your
be
place and that one.
Yeah, you'll just have to
Point it
when
out
you,
to you.
when you come out in 2 weeks, you'll have to point it out to us again.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if it
Yeah.
was quartile.
Because I'm gonna walk down there now. Now that I was in your place, I wanna stroll down to
Yeah.
that one like
Yeah.
that I said that night. You know, hey, there's some kind of tie.
Yeah, and see what feeling you get, because that might be house number 2.
It might be.
That
It might be.
That
Might have
might
been
be
the
the
other
other
house.
one or two. Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. Is he talking about like the one? Yeah, you know what I'm
Well,
talking
that
about.
one in between all of them.
Yeah. So
Could-
I'm
yeah,
it
wondering
could
if
be.
he picked out, because I'm wondering if he picked out one of the
Yeah.
first 2 originals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
How
That-
cool
that
is
would
it
be
though
really cool.
too that you can actually walk down into Prince Gallitzin's tomb? How awesome is
That
that?
was very cool, and like, oh my god, like just being there at the basilica, and he's buried at that spot, and like, I guess I thought that church was always there, but it wasn't. He built a very small like log cabin church,
Mhm.
but walking down in there and like to think he's laying in that like in the tomb, like you could
Yeah.
walk in it. It was so like History Channel shit.
Yeah. For real. Like,
Very.
and just the wrought iron fence that's around his monument right in front of the church. And just for anybody watching who
Let's
wonders,
share.
anybody can go there and go down into the tomb. So if you come out and visit the house, literally,
Let's share some
standing in
pictures.
front of the
I have some
house.
pictures.
yeah, when you're standing in front of the house, just to the right of the house is the basilica, and you can go up and walk around the cemetery, which is amazing in itself. The old
Very.
Schwab tomb is there. You can't go inside of that, but actual Prince Gallitzin, you can go right down and go
Hold on.
inside.
You don't want to see that. Hold on, where's that? There we go. All right, you guys see pictures, right?
Yeah,
There we go. So that's the house. That is Charles Schwab Estates, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
Amazing garden there. Amazing, beautiful.
And then these are videos that you sent me that. And there's
There it
the
is.
tomb.
Yep.
There's the tomb. You can walk down in there, and that's his statue up there.
It's a great picture.
Mhm.
These are not in order. So there he is. There's
Yeah.
his I guess coffin. I don't know what you would call that, but he's in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
He is in there. Oh, that's more pictures. And then this is more of the gardens
Garden.
around. Because
It's
Charles
so-
Schwab.
like, pictures don't. What is that?
Michael
I guess-
the Archangel.
Yeah, Michael the Archangel is back in there,
Yeah.
set back in the garden.
That one right there.
Yeah.
And
Like these
there we go.
pictures, you guys, like the pictures just don't even do it justice. Like it's incredible. The vines and the trees going everywhere. Like,
And just the feeling.
yeah,
Just
it's
the
incredible.
absolute. Yeah.
I think it's funny that
it's
he
it's a
was
double
Russian.
advertisement right there.
Yeah.
Look at the back of Amy's shirt.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we
there's
go.
another-
Yeah, Strongstown, PA. There we go. And I
There's
didn't
our
get to show
other
my slides
business.
today.
Look at that.
That is
It's
their
a
other business
go-go.
down here. They have 2 puppies left, and I didn't get to show them tonight because my slides weren't working. But,
Oh, boy.
I think it's funny that Loretto was named after a town in Italy, but he was Russian.
Yes.
Right.
And here's the graveyard. And I like that flag. Look at the flag.
Mm-hmm. There's actually what's built around it? Did you tell me what was built around that flag post? You said there was something there.
Yeah, it's a monument.
See
I
the
can't
vines
remember.
and stuff? They're like
I know. Isn't
this
that
big
gorgeous?
around, and they wrap up and around everything. It's just incredible.
Do you know how Loretto got its name?
Well, I heard it was from a town in Italy, but
It is.
go ahead.
It is. But that town in Italy, Catholic sisters from Loretta in Italy came over here to basically start the Catholic settlement with Prince Gallitzin, and that's why they named it Loretta. So they actually named it Catholic nuns from Loretta, Italy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know, like, I did read that he eventually joined the Bleeding Heart. I don't. It's not Bleeding Heart Society, but like the Bleeding Heart. I guess a sector of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
More of the basement, and that is
Schwab Estates Garden.
Yeah.
That's Schwab Estates. Okay. There's the house again.
Whoa.
Barber chair. Oh, there's the vines.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a whole circle, like the whole way through around there. Like,
yeah, so like
It's incredible.
you could come investigate the house, but also spend the whole weekend in the town, and you could go see Charles Schwab Estates.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, for those of you who don't know who Charles Schwab is, does anybody know who Charles Schwab is? Like, he was one of the founding, I guess, the men who built America. If you ever watched that show, he was pretty friendly with Carnegie, and well, at first. At first. Now, there is a haunting at Penn State now. There is a I guess it's a theater that's named after Charles Schwab, and then right across is a library that's named for Carnegie. So the legend is that Charles Schwab haunts the theater, so that way he can keep an eye on Carnegie. Yes,
It was very hard for two very wealthy, powerful men to be in such a small area.
Yeah.
Yes, too wealthy, and Carnegie was the man of steel, right? And or was it Schwab was the man of steel?
Schwab is the man of steel.
Okay, and Carnegie did something else. Like I always forget which one did which. Yep, here's some. I'm getting shit off that bed.
Basement. That's why I went back to the picture.
I know. Sean wants me to lay in the bed.
You need to lay in it. You need to lay in it. There, that's Prince Gallitzin's statue.
That's Prince Gallitzin statue.
I'm
right
telling
there.
you too, like, and it's the most eerie feeling when you look at that statue because his face actually feels like it's it's alive. It
literally feels like he's.
There we go. We're gonna zoom in.
Like, it is. Oh,
there he is. There he is.
It's wild.
Yeah.
We're sharing photos, so if anybody's making comments, I can't see them. So if you see any comments, let me know.
Oh, I'll check.
Oh, and those are just the videos you sent me to do the video. Yeah, there's the whole Charles Schwab Estates. Oh, it's so beautiful. The gardens. I think that's pretty much it. And there's just some pictures of the town. Yeah, there it is.
Demetrius. Yep. Yeah, his full name, Demetrius Augustine Gallitzin.
Yeah, that's what it was. Demetrius Augustine is the name he took over when he became a Catholic priest. So
correct.
I am going to stop sharing and come over back to you guys if I can find you. There we go. So it is pretty awesome. I can't wait to get back there. I can't wait to actually spend some time in the place. So, and I know you guys are doing a New Year's Eve.
Yes, we actually and we can talk about what's happening with this because nobody.
Okay.
So, and I've told you guys. So basically, what's happening is we put cameras in every room of the house. Hey, you're smoking. That's not fair.
Not fair.
That's right. I'm outside.
Gary.
Gary's like, what? I don't know which ins are talking about. It wasn't me.
Oh my God. She just said yins. Yins.
Yeah.
She just said yins.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
It's yins here.
Yins. So we put cameras in the house, hook them all up, time, date, stamp, everything's correct. About a week and a half ago, I
Oh,
went.
we're gonna talk about that. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we went
Okay.
and explain why we're having this New Year's Eve thing. So I went in about a week and a half ago, and the interior cameras required some mini SD cards. So I put those all in. I had to format everything again, verified the timestamp, the date, everything was good. Next day, it was that day. No, it was the next day. I went to get that last bit of footage for you with Christian. And we were just getting ready to leave the house, and Danielle calls me from work, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I told you I was coming to the house." Or she's like, "Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right." She's like, "Well, just so you know, because I was standing in the living room," she said, "there is a black shadow figure standing in the kitchen right now." And I was like, "Nah." She's like, me and Kate are standing here watching it move back and forth, and the camera's going nuts. The camera's going from daytime to nighttime, daytime to nighttime. So I walk over there, I'm listening, I'm looking, nothing. So she said, "Well, that's not the craziest part." I was like, "What?" She's like, "The timestamp on the camera says 1969. It was December 31st, 1969 at 5 something
It was like
p.m.
5:35 p.m.
Yeah. And I was like, "Wow, well, that's really weird." I said, "Let me just check the other cameras," because I was here the other day doing all of that. And every other camera was correct except the barbershop. And the barbershop date was January 1st, 1970 at 7:14 p.m. So since then, we have tried hard resetting the cameras, unplugging them, hitting, holding down the reset, disconnecting them from the Wi-Fi, reconnecting them from the Wi-Fi.
Changed the SD cards again.
Changed the SD cards again. Yuffie suggested changing the actual time zone in the app, because that's the only thing you can change in the app to update your time. Switched it to a different time zone, let it set, changed it back. Same thing. The cameras will not reset to current date and time. They are stuck in 1969, New Year's Eve to New Year's Day of 1970. So
it would be really funny if after we do this event, they change.
Yeah, that we have actually talked about that, or we figure out why, or possibly what has happened. So we decided, hey, why not New Year's Eve? We'll start it at 5 p.m. and bring people in. People can stay all night and investigate, and see if we can get it figured out into New Year's Day and go from there.
I truly feel, because I can't figure it out, my scientific brain is, I don't know. But I just truly feel that once we figure out whatever happened in that 20, because it's a 26-hour loop. That's what those two cameras are running. 26 hours.
It's not like it started. It's not like it started in 1969 and then the time just kept going. No, once it hits New Year's Day at 7 whatever, it takes it right back to 5 p.m. on New Year's Eve again.
That is so strange.
Yeah. So exactly. Strange. So I feel when we figure out whatever may have happened, whether it's in that house, whether it's in that town, I just feel that then it's going to change back.
It's like being stuck in Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It is. It's like it's trying to tell us. So I just want to share real quick. I'm going to share my screen again, and you're going to see everything for a second. But right here, this is if people want to book the house, they can contact you guys, and this is your flyer, right? Like,
yeah.
I pulled this off your Facebook, so
nope, you're good.
So $100 deposit to secure it, and then weekends and for 12 hours, and it's 12 hours. Would that be, what time is that? Is that from
whatever time they choose to check in? 12 hours from there.
Okay. So if they come 7, it'd be 7 to 7.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So if you guys are interested,
we basically just meet you out there, check you in, and you're on your own. We leave. We don't, we just ask you in the morning when you leave. You just lock the door behind you.
Okay. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, for those of you that are listening to this and aren't able to view it, for those of you on Spotify or iHeart or one of the other podcast stations, you may call them at 814-389-6717, or you can find them on Unique Paranormal 1.5 on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. They are all, it's that same name on every social media outlet. So you search in there, you should be able to find them, and then you can book.
Yeah. We're hoping eventually to have an official The Doss House website here pretty soon. So once we get that up and running, we'll let everybody know.
I'm with you there. Pork and sauerkraut at midnight.
That's a
You know,
must.
it's that.
Okay, Gene, we'll pick it up on our way.
That's a must.
Okay, but I'm also from Maryland, so we need to have some black-eyed peas.
All right, fine.
Have you heard about that one?
No, I'm not sure what those mean, but I know what pork and sauerkraut means.
Yes,
But-
black-eyed peas are
Gas the
good
next
luck.
day.
Ah.
Yes.
We're gonna take good luck.
Yeah, no kidding. For sure.
Yes, black-eyed peas are good luck, from where I come from. And nothing. And the reason why we eat pork is because you don't want anything that you want, nothing that roots backwards. You want, like chickens, they root backwards, but pigs, they root forward. They're, sorry, I'm going to do the big thing. You should know you have pigs.
We do know, and you look just like them. Right
She
there
even
in
put
that
her,
minute.
she put her little hands up.
That's what they look like too. All the time.
Look at Gary. Like, what the hell is going on?
There's the bell.
There it is.
I need one of those.
Oh, goodness.
shoot.
Ah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
But
Well,
yes,
we do
that's
have
what
to
I was
say-
always told.
We do have to say we snuck in on the live on the group that's in there tonight, and it was early. It wasn't before 9 o'clock. It was before 9 o'clock, and
So they're West Virginia.
West Virginia Paranormal Investigations.
it was going pretty well for them.
Yes.
Okay.
They were getting some pretty wild activity over there already.
I'm going to see if I can. I'm really far away from my keyboard right now. Virgin.
Virginia. Virgin.
I have dyslexia.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Zella.
Zella under the
Paranormal.
floor. She must hear Gary.
Investigation.
Zella.
Oh, Zella. Here we go. They were
Yeah.
live. Yes. Oh, look at that. Okay, I'm going to see if I can share. I hope they don't mind, West Virginia. Let's see. Here we go. Let's go back to Zoom, or not Zoom. We're on StreamYard. Present.
Are they still live now?
They are not. It says. Okay.
They
So
probably
we're sharing. Here they are, right here. This was their live. They were an hour and 29 minutes. They were live.
This is the
end,
part
the
we didn't
end,
even see.
Yeah, we didn't see all of this
This must have
beginning.
been
We
at
were
the
probably
beginning.
in like the last 45 minutes. They were in the upstairs bedroom.
Okay, here we go.
So some even before this is
Yeah.
when they got the knocking. And
They got a large when they opened up the crawl space when they were getting ready. They were pulling their equipment back out of the crawl space, and they had a loud screaming, like of a deep man's voice scream come through.
Creepiness.
Oh, the K2's going off again. There we go. Spiritual. So they got the SB7.
Mhm.
Yeah. They got some good stuff coming through on that SB7.
Still going crazy. Money.
Money.
Move forward.
I think you did say move forward.
Probably about 10 minutes before this, they had three large knocks on the wall behind them coming from the crawl space.
Okay. Let's go to about here.
Light up like you were before, please.
Oh, this is when they had the lights out on the K2s.
I think
Okay.
the
think it
knocking
was
was just before this.
Yeah, right before.
Just
that.
before this? Okay. Let's see if we can get it.
Over to your left. sounded like downstairs, like that way.
Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. It's going to talk about it because I just heard him say it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If it was something, oh, there it is.
There you go.
West Virginia Paranormal Investigations. If you were here, I will tag you and promote you in this as well.
That was behind me, I think, but I don't
I think
know.
that was.
Was that a knock?
Floorboards are creaking.
That was the floorboards moved.
I can feel the vibration.
I think it was before.
The lights were on definitely
were on
when the
whenever.
knocking had happened.
Thank you for doing
Okay.
that. Your Cindy's just lit up.
Yeah, because
And then when he got the loud scream from the
it's
crawl
before they
space,
even
he was
got to
they were standing on the steps just getting ready to pull their equipment out of the
because their
room.
music box was going
Was
off.
this your-
That's why he
Yeah,
opened
that's
the door.
yeah. They went up there because they heard their music box going off.
Green light on the bed. Can you come up and touch that again?
It might
Might be
about
right
this
around
area.
here.
Which one? The one closest to Cindy?
Yeah, the black one over there.
I thought I was seeing things maybe. 'Cause
No, I saw it out of the corner of my eye, but I could have swore I saw a flash.
Was there somebody standing right here beside me, or maybe sitting on the bed?
What was that?
You guys
Did you hear that?
I did hear something, but I don't know what it was.
It sounded like a thump on the wall
Three
behind you.
knocks behind you.
There you go.
You weren't tapping your foot. I
No.
thought you were tapping your foot.
That was three knocks.
The girl sitting on the bench thought she was tapping her foot.
Yep. I don't have good sound, so I didn't hear it. But
Look, yours.
so it's right about 37 minutes
Hers blinked.
into the
I'm
video.
almost
If you
positive.
guys want to check it out,
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And then
that is pretty cool.
not long after that, they started getting a lot more stuff too with the
Was that you
K2s
just
and
made those noises, the three
Okay.
knocks.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So everybody
Okay.
go over to West Virginia Paranormal Investigations. Check them out. Check out their
And
they're
if
live and see what's going on. Oh, hold on. I gotta shut it off because I can still hear it.
Oh.
There we go. Yeah, go check them out, everybody. Like, go over there and check out West Virginia Paranormal Investigations and see what they're doing over at the Doss House and book your own. Like, you guys got to go out there and check this out. It's going to be
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah,
It's
for
going to be
sure.
amazing.
I was gonna say too, anybody on the podcast that's watching, if you get a hold of us tonight, today's the last day that we're running our special. Saves you $50 on a booking if you book by the end of today. So yeah, take advantage of that savings and get a hold of us.
You got 2
Yeah.
hours.
So you got 2 hours.
Yeah, you basically, as long as you confirm and reserve a date within the next 6 months. So
Okay,
it's not
next 6 months.
within the next 6 months. Yes.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. So please, everybody, go over, check out the Doss House, and get your discount. Why not book now? Book it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Pamela Berry is here. Hello,
Hey,
Pamela.
Pam. That's
And
Mama
then
Pam.
Sadie says, Dana put, oh, she's like, let's do it. She's talking to someone else in the comments.
Yeah, for
Sadie,
sure.
I don't know. Dana is about 2.5 hours from you. She's my neighbor.
Or for anybody who's
Yeah, it's
not
just-
actually like, if anybody doesn't have a group of people, just reach out to us. We'll join you and take you out. We have no problem doing that.
Mhm.
You know, there's
Yeah, do you plan on doing, besides New Year's Eve, do you plan on doing some open investigation nights where people can just come and pay whatever and do a
I'm
investigation?
sure eventually we will. Things are just so crazy and so busy right now. But it's definitely, I think it's in the plans for us in the future. We'll set some dates for public investigations and anybody can
Absolutely.
come. But literally, what does it take us about 20 minutes to get there?
Okay,
So-
it's the wrong. Sorry, Sada. It's the wrong Dana. I have a Dana that lives close to me. You. I have too many Danas on my Facebook. I don't know anybody's last name.
Yeah, and if anybody's coming in from far, like I was telling you guys, there's the inn up in Evansburg. The
Collins.
Noon Collins Inn is a haunted it's like a haunted Airbnb type situation up there.
It's a
Hotel.
but
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, and
It
it's
is cool.
really old.
So it's like 2 haunted locations in one.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you
then
could stay
literally
there
right across the
Yeah.
street from there, if you want to make a weekend out of it, the Old
Yeah.
Stone Jail of Evansburg has reopened. You
Yeah.
can book an investigation there. We did that a couple weeks ago. That's a pretty incredible place. So, like I said, if you're coming in far, make the best of it. Hit a couple spots, stay at a really cool place, and just
And you guys are right outside of Johnstown, which is a very tragic area.
Very.
You know, they had the floods there. Many people died
Yes.
underwater there for not a good reason, a preventable reason, should I say?
Very much so.
Their deaths were very preventable. Yeah, so it is the whole area there, and then you have the Alleghenies. You know, it's the Allegheny Mountains. Shauna, do you want to share what happened to you the other day driving down one of the roads?
Oh, so I was driving back to our house, which how far are we off the main road? Like 2 miles?
2 miles.
We're about 2 miles, and I'd say about a mile back the road, there's a lot of forest trees all around us. And I just saw this, it was a big, huge flash of light. And it had like a orangish yellow hue in the center of it. And it was just as quick as it flashed in the trees, it was gone. And she's like, well, maybe somebody was shooting guns. Or I'm like, no, it was massive. Like the whole wood line lit up. And it's, it was like, I had to like do a double take. Like, did I seriously just see that? And then it was actually in the wood line of what I call snake forest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw a big old black snake fall from the trees down there. So I absolutely hate snakes.
There's raining snakes in
snakes.
The Alleghenies.
So yeah,
which is part of the Appalachia. It's part of Appalachia. So there's a lot of Appalachian lore and legend that kind of goes along with this forest around there too.
I can handle the big flashes of bright light, but not the snakes.
Not the snakes. What about the Bigfoots that might come out?
I mean, that's fine. No snakes.
No snakes. No snakes.
Maybe
all right, guys. Well, I
I
have one more spooky story to share that I haven't shared yet from our viewers.
Okay.
Do you guys want to stick on while I share that, or do you want to?
Oh, girl, you do your thing. We appreciate you having us on.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. And again, people can find you at Unique Paranormal 1.5 at Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Those are the three.
Just real quick before we let you go, do you hear this little noise that keeps going?
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was church bells or something.
No, it's Zella.
Scoot over.
Zella.
Come here,
Zella. Oh, look, there's Gary's dog.
There's Gary.
There's Gary.
Zella. Hey, Zella.
There's Gary.
Get your ball, Zella. Where's the ball?
Where's your ball?
Where's the ball?
Where's Gary?
Where's the ball?
Oh,
Get the ball, Zella.
Where?
She loves Gary.
Oh, she loves Gary.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
All right, Stacey, thanks for coming on.
Love you. Thank
Love
you.
you guys.
You guys have a wonderful evening and see you soon.
You
Yes.
too.
Good
Bye-bye.
night, everyone.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we have one more, and I've peeled my entire face off, by the way. It looks like bacon. It really does. I'm down here looking at it. I took a picture. I'll show you guys later. We have one more spooky story to share before we end. This is Susan's. I don't know if she's still on. And this one, I love Susan. Susan's a really good friend of mine. And I am pulling that up now. I had a feeling we weren't going to get to all of them. Okay. So Susan, she was staying at the Grand Midway Hotel, which is not, I guess it's outside Altoona. It's not far from the people we were just talking to. They are actually going to be there November 9th. She had the zombie suite. When it was time for bed, she went into the most haunted room of the hotel, the canopy suite. She said goodnight to all the spirits and thanked them for the evening and anything that they had said to her. She went across the hall and to her room and closed the door. She changed and hopped into bed. and it's a big 4-poster bed that you have to climb into. It's like you have to climb up into it. And Susan's like short like me, so you have to climb up into it. And she was laying under the covers. She decided to leave her lamp on for emotional support. I totally get this, Susan. I do the same thing. Sometimes I just need a little bit of light. Not even 2 minutes after getting into her bed, someone woke her up. She heard someone walking in her room on the wood floor. She glanced over to the door, and it was still latched and shut, so no one came in. So she closed her eyes. She's like, then she felt something sit on the bed, and here she is. She's like, eyes closed, something sits on her bed. She's like, I don't want to see this, but she opened her eyes. No one was there. There was this impression of something there. She felt like something climb over and on top of her, and they held her down. Her arms were pinned. Her legs were pinned. It was like that paralysis we were talking about earlier. She could feel breath in her face. She couldn't move. Her fingers were like pulling on the covers and like trying to pull the covers off and run because she's like totally wanted to get out of bed. She screamed, please stop, let me go. It continued to hold her tighter and tighter. All she could do was yell. I screamed, let go. A voice said in a dark, ominous tone, I guess a disembodied voice said, no. And then all of a sudden the covers lifted up off the bed, and then she was able to move. It was like they were like someone yanked them off the bed. Whatever was on top of her, something yanked them off. She ran to the next door, to another room, and slept there all night. Well, tried to sleep, should we say. I don't know if she got much sleep at all, but would she go back again? She says, absolutely. So that is a horrible, spooky story, but that's how we do it in the paranormal world. Like, we want to go back and have those experiences again. Like, a lot of us do this because we want to have those experiences.
Like, I swear I ain't going back in the basement, and I probably would.
Like, you keep saying you don't want to go back to you just back to that room in there. So it is a wonderful addiction, so to speak. Would you call it an addiction to the paranormal? Not an addiction, but I want to know the unknown. I want to know the unknown. I want to explore it. I want to know what's out there. Not that I'm a skeptic. I believe in it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jean. Not that I'm a skeptic, but sometimes I wonder if some things are true and some things are not. So I always like to find out that truth, and see if we can at least get a little bit of truth out of what it is. So, any last words for our audience tonight?
No, go check out the house. There's a lot of energy there.
It's nice to have a new location to investigate. Yeah. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's always nice. And tonight was the first team in there. So if you book the investigation very, very soon, you're going to be one of the first teams. You're not going to be the first because the first is tonight. But you're going to be one of the first teams in there to do that. And I know that we all do a lot of these investigations, and we go to a lot of these places where a lot of other people have been. And a lot of times you have energy spillover. You have people who bring things in. You have stories that are made up that kind of take on a life of their own. Well, this place has none of that yet. It's a clean slate. So go check it out before everybody else does. Contact Shauna and Danielle tonight before midnight, and you get a discount off of your investigation. So I want to thank everybody for coming at
their comments.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and watching us. I know it's Halloween and not a lot of people are on. People are out doing parties. They're out doing their stuff. But this will be uploaded later, and everybody can listen to it via pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. So thank you all for joining us. I just want to give you one last word. So please remember to fill your cup first. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and have a spooky Halloween.